Welcome back, it's me, Lou. I'm here for another action figure unboxing and review. Today will be a special video as we jump into the time machine and travel back a whole 31 years to the year 1994. Alright, so in 1994, I graduated high school, and even back then I was collecting action figures. I do remember this Fantastic Four line of action figures. It was inspired by the animated series as seen on the Marvel Action Hour. To the best of my knowledge or memory, I think the Marvel Action Hour here in the Chicagoland area was on Sunday mornings, I think on the CW network, I think. Or either that or it might have been UPN. I can't remember exactly. But either way, we're looking at the Mole Man. So why are we looking at the Mole Man in 2025? Partially because I really want a Mole Man figure in my Marvel Legends collection. And Hasbro did make a Mole Man figure, but this was back in 2007. And that figure goes for a lot of money on the secondary market. I see prices hovering anywhere between maybe like $60 to like $75. I really want a Mole Man, but I don't want him that bad. So I'm like, you know what? Until Hasbro makes a new updated figure, I'll just get a proxy figure. And then I saw this at one of my local collectible toy stores. I think I got this for maybe like, I want to say maybe like $12. So for me, it was a no-brainer. I pulled the trigger on it because I am very fond of the older Toybiz figures from the 90s. And it's such a cool thing to be able to revisit this era. I love the graphic design work on the packaging. You know, there's a nice foil hologram for the Fantastic Four logo. You can kind of see it being reflecting off the four and the circle around it. It's really neat. Here's a Fantastic Four and the Fantastic Car. We have Mole Man, and included with him is a small little Moloid accessory figure right there. On the back, really fun graphic, and then he has a twirling combat staff. You place the staff in his right arm and turn clockwise to wind. Then you press the button on the arm to release the spinning action. It's very cool. We have a nice meaty bio on the Mole Man character, so if you're unfamiliar with him, you know, here's all you need to know about the Mole Man. He's one of the premier Fantastic Four villains. And I don't know, I always dug the Mole Man. He's very iconic, you know, especially his look with the goggles and the green attire. So yeah, very, very cool. And here's some other figures in the wave back in 1994. There was Black Bolt, The Thing, Terrax, Mr. Fantastic, Silver Surfer, and Doctor Doom. And there was also an Iron Man line, which is pretty cool too. It's kind of crazy because in the year 2025, you know, we're getting some updates of some of these figures. Like there's the Backlash figure that's currently out. You know, I think not too long ago we got a gray gargoyle. So that's awesome stuff. Alright, so let's take out this old action figure and revisit the year 1994. Alright, so he does come with a cool little Moloid accessories. The Moloids are kind of like those subterranean humanoid-like creatures that follow around Mole Man. And it's coming off very bright on my camera, a little overexposed. There you go. He has those goggles like Mole Man does. You know, since they're subterranean, you know, the sunlight hurts their eyes. And unfortunately, this guy is not articulated. But it's a cool accessory nonetheless. If you're a customizer and if you're into like making your own molds and casting your own action figures, this would be a great guy to like army build. You know, just make a mold of them and just, you know, make as many copies of this guy as you want. It's pretty cool. And then we come to the Mole Man. So until there's an updated Marvel Legends, this is going to be kind of like my Mole Man proxy. Like I mentioned, Hasbro did make a Marvel Legends Mole Man, but this was back in 2007. But I don't mind this older figure from 1994. And he does not want to focus for some reason. There we go. Wonderful action figure. I mean, there's not much to say. It's the Mole Man. He's wearing his green attire with the cape and the giant popped up collar. He stands in at about 4.5 inches, which might be kind of short, but I don't really mind. You know, like I said, this is kind of like a proxy figure. I don't really. He's Mole Man. He doesn't need to be accurate. Here he is next to a modern Marvel Legends figure. The cape is removable. It just pops right off. Very generic looking character. In terms of his articulation, his head swivels, his arms move. He has articulation at the elbow. And you'll notice the metal pin. We don't see that very often nowadays. His legs move. And then he has this arm. So you're only looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 points of articulation, plus the combat twirling staff, which you insert into his hand like so. And then you wind up his hand like the instructions said, and then you press the button, and that's really cool. I really miss play features like this. You know, I kind of wish modern toys incorporated wacky gimmicks like this. And sometimes they do, but, you know, for the most part, not so often. You know, if you're a little one, I think you get a kick out of that. And let's remove the staff without breaking his thumb. So yeah, I mean, it's a fun action figure. Like I said, the scale is probably very, very off, but I don't mind. You know, I just wanted a Mole Man in my collection. Yeah, so until Hasbro releases an updated figure, this one's just going to have to do. And like I said, I don't mind too much that he's too small. You know, in terms of his proportions, he has a giant head. So he kind of looks like Danny DeVito, you know, which I don't mind. I love Danny DeVito. All right, so with that being said, let's wrap this one up. Once again, my name is Lou. If you're new to my channel, welcome. If you are a returning viewer or subscriber, thank you so much for your continued support. I greatly appreciate it. So until the next video, be safe, take care of yourself, buy lots of toys, and most importantly, be happy. And I'll see you at the next one. All right, later.